Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today, I'm gonna be doing a review of the Sceptre IPS 24-inch gaming monitor. I'm gonna go over the pros and the cons and my own real life experience that I've had with this monitor. And if at any point during the video you wanna check out this exact same monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, and Canada. I do got you guys, but let's jump into the video. All right off the bat, this is a 1080p 24-inch monitor. This is a great PPI at this size, and especially if your rig cannot push 1440p or 4K or maybe ultra wide, then 1080p at 24 inches is a really good resolution because things are still gonna be clear, but your rig can easily get higher frame rates. All right, now this is an IPS panel or in-plane switching. What that means basically is you're gonna get much better colors than a VA panel and much better viewing angles than both a TN and a VA panel, so that's really good. But besides that, this hits 165 Hertz, which is great, especially if you want to hit those higher frame rates, because again, you can do that because you're only outputting a 1080p image, so pretty easy to hit 165 frames. All right, but let's get into the gaming performance. Obviously, this price point, we are not gonna see G-Sync, but we do have FreeSync Premium, and during the entire testing process, I really never saw any screen tearing, which is a great thing to see. We do expect that. All right, now response time. This is actually really good. This is 1 millisecond gray to gray response time, which is very, very good. All right, so what does that translate directly to? Well, the ghosting is really good. Okay, so first of all, there pretty much is no ghosting, but let's go into the overdrive settings, which is basically the response time settings. Different brands will call it different things, but first there is low, medium, high, and then there is off. Now, going from low to medium and high is a definite difference. So first, low has a tiny bit of ghosting, the smallest amount of ghosting. If you're used to a VA panel, this is going to be a unnoticeable amount of ghosting. Okay, so moving to medium and high, there is no ghosting at all, but there's pixel overshooting or inverse ghosting. Now, this is still a very small amount. So if you're extremely, and I mean extremely prone to seeing pixel overshooting or inverse ghosting, set it on low. You don't really see much ghosting at all, but if you do wanna hit that 1 millisecond gray to gray, change it to high. I keep it in high. It doesn't really affect me that much because it's pretty much unnoticeable. So honestly, any of the settings, any of the overdrive settings will work for you. Again, if you don't want any pixel overshooting, go with low. And if you want the fastest possible response time, then go with high. And I wouldn't ever do medium. There's no real difference as far as visual difference between medium and high. It's very slight. All right, let's talk colors. This hits 99% of the sRGB color space, which is awesome to see on such an inexpensive monitor. But continuing on with that, this will actually output 8 bits of color, which again is a really awesome thing to see. Now, this is not an 8-bit native panel. This is a 6-bit plus FRC or frame rate control to then output that 16.7 million colors to then hit 8 bits of color. Now, this is really good. Again, if you don't know, frame rate control is really, really awesome, and many companies use it, if not most companies are using this to output a higher bit rate. All right, moving on to brightness. So this monitor is nothing crazy, but it's also not bad, okay? So it's kind of right there in the middle. It's kind of like, this is good. This hits 320 nits, which again is not like 350 nits or 400 nits, is like very bright, very nice. I love that a lot. Pretty much 400 nits is like my perfect, but we're not seeing 250 nits. 250 nits is where you're like, okay, this is dim. 300 nits is acceptable. It's very good. It's very neutral, and then 320 nits, just a little bit brighter than that. So overall, you're probably not gonna have that big of an issue with glaring because of the brightness, but you're not gonna be wowed from the brightness. But that's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just kind of a neutral thing. But besides that, the matte display is also quite good at keeping away reflections. So I don't think even in a fairly well-lit room, you're not gonna have a problem with this, but it's not gonna wow you with its brightness. So, all right, now the ports. This has one HDMI 2.0, two HDMI 1.4s, a display port, and a 3.5mm audio out. So you are getting a lot of HDMI ports, which is great. if you want to connect something like an Xbox. Now the 1.4s, again, remember this is only 1080p, so you're still going to be able to get 144 hertz with those 1.4, the HDMI 1.4 ports. So if you are hooking up a console like an Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, this will still work fantastic for that. But you also do have that HDMI 2.0 if you're only connecting one thing. So if you want to connect your Xbox to HDMI 2.0 and your PC to the DisplayPort, you can do that easily. All right, now this does have built-in speakers, but I can't really say that this is a pro. It's hard because one, it's nice that it has it, but two, they are absolutely terrible and they are really, really soft. So definitely do not think that if you get this, you're gonna be able to use the speakers on the monitor. But again, it does have that 3.5mm audio out. Pick up any speakers, they'll be better than the integrated speakers, but that's normal and typical, but it is nice that it's included. All right, now this is VESA mountable with 100mm by 100mm VESA mount, which is really awesome to see in a 24-inch monitor. Some of them cheap out and go with a 75 by 75mm, which is just not, I don't like that. So it's nice that they have a 100mm by 100mm VESA mount. This thing would be incredibly easy to put on like a monitor arm. And in fact, I will have a monitor arm linked below to Amazon that I recommend. Because of how light this is and it's only 24 inches, it would be really easy to do so. So that's something to consider. All right, now the last thing is the menu system. This is kind of a con, but it's not a huge one. First of all, they have a bunch of stuff that you can go through, all the settings that you need, all the picture profiles. You can turn off FreeSync, change the overdrive settings, really whatever you need. However, it uses 4 buttons to control the menu system and everything on the monitor, and it's a little confusing. There's definitely a learning curve. So this is not something that you're gonna be like LG's monitors right away, no learning curve with the menu system. This is definitely gonna take some time to get used to. But overall, for 200 bucks, this thing is an awesome monitor. I love IPS monitors more than any other panel type out there, and this one is at a really, really good price, especially if you're someone who wants to hit those higher frame rates. You get 165 hertz and a 1080p monitor, 24 inches, IPS, 320 nits of brightness, really good colors. This thing overall is a great package. Again, guys, if you want to check out this monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, and Canada. I do got you guys. But yeah, I definitely recommend this monitor, especially if you've been looking at this and want to hit those higher frames with a 1080p display. This is definitely the way to go. This was Type C Tech Reviews. If you guys enjoyed this video and it helped you out, help me out and throw a like below. And if you enjoy monitor reviews, gaming monitor reviews, I do just those on this channel. So please consider subscribing below. But this was Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.